Good evening. This feels a bit weird now. Feels a bit weird not having my headset on. Because we're doing something a little bit different today. And hello Ash, welcome to the stream. I noticed you lurking in the channel. Hold on, let me just get rid of this mode. There we go. So, we're actually going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to try something a bit different for today. I'm going to split this stream in two. Now, it should just all work smoothly. It's just go through. You won't need to reload or refresh. Basically, what will happen is I'm going to focus the first 20 or so minutes on the patch notes and my. Well, the first 20 or so minutes on the patch notes. Am I being all right? There we go. There we go. Yeah, I had another window open. Right. I've lost. Yeah, hello. Yeah, I've lost my train of thought again now. Too easy distracted. Yeah. Anyway, first phase into the stream, we'll look at the patch notes, and then we'll do some gameplay for Legends. Just because why not? Today's beverage of choice is very appropriate. Actually, it is red cola. So, we got a glimpse at the patch notes for the Monday update today, and there is some interesting stuff in there. So, it'll be available to download between 7 AM and 10 AM UTC on both Xbox and PlayStation 4 on Monday. It is expected to take between 2 and 2.2 gigabytes of storage, so just bear that in mind when you're planning ahead for when you want the game to update and things like that. Cat, will you just fuck off? I'm trying to do stuff here. Bloody pets. So, yeah. But the update will be available between 7 AM and 10 AM UTC on Monday. It'll be around between 2 and 2.2 gigabytes worth of download. So, what is coming on the update? Well, the main feature is obviously the Russians. The Russian fleet is arriving. We're getting one full line initially, and we're also getting the early access to a second line, which is, so the full line will be cruisers, so tiers 1 through 7, and they'll all be able to research, and the destroyers will be available to obtain through the early access crates, similar to how they ran previously, and the tiers available from there will be the tiers 3 through 6. Okay, so what ships are coming? Well, there is the Tier 1 Novak, the Tier 2 Bogatyr, Tier 3 Svetlana, Tier 4 Kirov, Tier 5 Budyonny, Tier 6 Shchors, and then Tier 7 is Chapayev. So all those ships, with the exception of Kirov, are light cruisers. Kirov, she's actually a heavy cruiser. She comes equipped with, I believe, 9 180mm guns. The rest of them all feature 152s, I believe, except for perhaps Novak, which I think Novak is something different. Sorry, Novik, not Novak. But I don't have that information to hand at the moment. So, here we have the glorious Chapayev. As you can see, she is a long boat. A very, very long boat, but long boats also means fast boats, and that is in fact a trait of the Russian ships, whether it's the cruisers or whether it's the destroyers. They are all fast. So the Russian cruisers are very fast, armed with low caliber guns that feature high velocity shells, long ranges, and very flat trajectories for their shells, so you're not going to be looping shells over islands very much in the Russian ships. The mainline Russian cruisers also do have they do have torpedoes, but they are not offensive. You would not be wanting to use your Russian torpedoes as offensive weapons because they are very short ranged, extremely short ranged. Whilst I can't give you the detailed stats because that information is not publicly available yet, if you look at likes of PC stats, things like that, you'll see that the Russian torpedoes on their Tech Tree cruisers rarely go beyond 5 kilometers. Rarely. Yeah, exactly. It's generally between 4 and 5 kilometers generally, which is that's probably going to leave a lot of people disappointed. But in all honesty, given the characteristics of Russian cruisers, if you are getting into positions where, if you're actively putting yourself in positions where you can get your torpedoes off, you're probably going to get blapped fairly quickly because they are longboats, so they're big targets, they're fast, but they're also basically floating sizzles. They are seriously floating sizzles. So if you even expose a slight modicum, is it modicum? If you even expose just a hint of broadside, you're going to be taking damage quite quickly, and it's going to hurt you a lot. So, yes, I know you guys are talking about the Mikhail Kutuzov, but we'll get to that in a moment. So that's the cruisers. A general characteristic list of the cruisers is that they're fast, low caliber, high velocity guns with flat trajectories, very long range, very poor armor, very short torpedo range, and they also have quite bad concealment as well, because the size of your ship factors into your concealment, and unfortunately Russian cruisers are very large, so they would have so the next set of ships that we're getting is obviously the Russian destroyers. Now we're only getting a handful of these, and they're going to be available under the early access. So to get the early access bits and pieces is similar to how it's run previously, is that they'll feature within crates. Now they're entirely optional. You don't have to buy anything. If you don't want to go through the means of early access, you can just not bother with it, and they'll be available in the next update, which will likely be around the time of 1 year since early access started for World War Legends. So obviously last year the game launched in early access in April, and then went to full live in August. So the next update will be probably just after Easter, around the time of the one year anniversary for early access as well. So the destroyers, we've got the next, all the other ships that are in the destroyer tree, but I can't because that hasn't been publicly available. Oh well, oh no, there he has. So the T2 is the Dursky, and the TS7 will be the Tashkent. Those of you familiar with the Russian destroyer playstyle is that they are fast. They've got decent guns, but glacial gun traverse, short range torpedoes, poor concealment, but high hit points, and they are very, very fast. Yes, I did get to test Mika, but I can't really reveal my thoughts on those until the update goes live. So when I'm talking about ships that haven't been released yet, I'll be often making reference to other games such as like the World Warship Blitzmail. That's like the bastard, the stepchild from the ginger person next door, and then from World Warship PC as well. So here we have the Gnevny in all her glory, which looks quite a bit like Gremiaschi, and she also looks quite a bit like T22. I'm not gonna lie. And that is a Queen Elizabeth in the background. Yes, there's a Queen Elizabeth in the background there as well, behind my beautiful face. So, of course, with a new nation comes new commanders. So those who've got Gremiaschi or Okhotnik will be familiar with Anton Gurin. He'll be joined by 6 other commanders. We've got Nikolai von Essen, Vladimir Trubetsky, Lev Gala, Mikhail Kedrov, Nikolai Kuznetsov, and Stepan Makarov. So we'll have two destroyer commanders, 2 cruiser commanders, and 2 battleship commanders, along with the usual universal commander. And that universal commander here is Nikolai von Essen. New commanders mean new base traits, and we have 6 of them to go through. So we'll open them up here, and I'll get rid of my face a second. Give me one moment. Why is my... Oh, I forgot to put the background music on. I do have background music this time around. So let me just get rid of my pretty face a moment, and I'll also get rid of the chat so it won't pop in momentarily. So just do that. Nikolai von Essen, his base trait is Nooks and Crannies, which increases the minimum ricochet angle of your ship's AP shells. Essentially, ships have a point at which they start having a chance of ricochets, and there's also a point where there's a guaranteed chance of a ricochet. Well, basically, the ricochet is going to be guaranteed. Increasing that percentage for the minimum angle means effectively you can shoot ships at a slightly sharp angle without a risk of your shell just bouncing harmlessly off the hull. So his base trait starts at 0.2% and then increases to plus 4% for the minimum ricochet angle of your AP shells. Next command is Stepan Makarov. Nights shorter than days, and it's a survivalist skill which increases the duration of the damage control consumable. This is very straightforward. It's a flat bonus of 1% per rank. So you're basically going to be able to get plus 20% bonus to your damage control party duration. Mikhail Kedrov, Vicious Circle, increases the main battery traverse speed of your battleship. So it might not look much, that 0.05 degrees per second increase per rank, it might not look much, but 1 full degree per second is essentially 20% off most. Well, if it takes you if you moved your guns at 1 degree per second, 360 seconds. So you know what? No, yeah, I'll leave that. I won't bother that bit. Basically, increase how fast you can rotate your turrets. Charles Madden is like 4%. So whereas Charles Madden is a percentage based, this guy is a flat number based. So if I do get my little calculator up, so take Queen Elizabeth for example. So Queen Elizabeth takes 60 seconds to rotate, so 360 divided by 60. So if you use Queen Elizabeth for instance, that 60-second turret traverse is it's 1 degree. It's 6 degrees per second. If you then add, so that would make that skill make that turret traverse from 6 degrees to 7 degrees. So 360 divided by 7. So you're essentially knocking off 9 seconds of your turret rotation speed, if as using the Queen Elizabeth as an example. What other slow traversing ships is there? Oh, there's the Iron Duke. So this will be useful inspiration for like the Iron Duke. So 360 divided by 72 seconds. That's a 5 degree turret traverse. It'll basically get 72 down to 60 at full strength, which is not bad at all. Okay, we'll get back to the other traits. So the other 3 base traits. So we've got Vladimir Trebetskoy, and reduces your incoming damage to your destroyer. Very useful, particularly useful for Russian destroyers, because they are big targets, they have poor concealment, but they do have a lot of hit points. So this one's a fairly straightforward skill description. It just flat out reduces incoming damage. Well, yeah. With regards to the cruiser commanders, let's just say, in my opinion, the Russian cruiser commanders are the best cruiser commanders in the game. I can't tell you exactly why just yet. But they both have skills which many cruiser players have been clamoring for a long time. The majority of the ones don't get. Nikolai Kuznetsov, sorry. He has an increased main battery range of your cruiser. Again, doesn't really require much explanation. So he flat out increasing his gun range, so you can get up to 6% extra. So for as Content Froggy has pointed out, extra range of his Lanta. You can probably, 6% isn't a huge margin for low range cruisers such as Atlanta. It only works out to be about 700-800 meters. But if you've got a cruise that has, say, 18 kilometer range, that 6% gets a bit more spicy. Yes, there is IFHE, which we'll get onto that, but it's not just IFHE. There is obviously the selection of skills that are available as well, but which aren't included in these, so I'm not going to go into on that front. I'll touch on the skills that are revealed, but the selection of skills are pretty good. The final commander, Lev Gala, and again it's another relatively straightforward one. Increases the main gun HE shell damage for battleships. Now, this particular one is pretty spicy because maxed out, the Nelson commander gets a 15% increase to your 15 or 16% increase to HE damage using the Big 7 skill. One of the French commanders has plus 4% increase maxed out across all classes. So you can combine Nelson. So if you play a British battleship, you can combine the Nelson commander with this French commander, and then Lev Gala. And if you take Nelson out, you can basically get about 8,700 HE salvos. So HE salvos that can do a max damage of around 8,700. That's just using basic maths. That is pretty spicy. That's I think the 24% increase for HE damage, which is horrific. I'm not gonna lie, there's no two ways of saying it. It is horrific. So yes, he's going to be very useful as an inspiration for British battleships. Very, very useful. Obviously, you need the Nelson commander to be able to have that full effect, but yeah, that's just a slight tangent. Right. So I've gone through all these bits here. New skills. There are 3 new skills which are featured on the Russian cruisers. Russian commanders. We have collective labour. Increase the duration of damage control party and receive an extra consumable charge. So it starts at 5%, so you get 1 extra charge of damage control. I'll just hang fire here before you go off. Well, they don't have charged damage control. Well, give me a second. So you get 1 extra charge of damage control. It's a flat buff across the board, regardless of what level it is, but it goes up with the damage control party duration. Goes up in increments of 5, 10, 5% to 5, 10, 15, and 20%. That would actually kind of stack quite nicely with that other skill beforehand, which I believe was this one. So collective labour would stack really nicely with Step and Makarov. Damage control party duration. Next skill, probably the most controversial. Equilibrium of power. This is IFHE. To all intents and purposes, it is IFHE. But it has a slight difference. Now, if you just give me one moment, I'm just going to pull up the. That's 30. It's a 30% increase in arm penetration for HE. Yes, you read that right. Yes, but it is only available on the cruiser commanders. It is a Russian exclusive skill. Right, so I'm just going to get the IFHE skill up on PC and just compare and contrast. Okay, so on PC, currently, you get a 30% increase to your armor penetration. But rather than having a reduction to your damage, you get a reduction to your fire chance. Now, frankly, I would rather have a fire chance reduction rather than damage reduction, because having that alongside perhaps, like, say, Igniter or what's the other one, Burn It Down XXL, frankly, is nightmare inducing. Also, bear in mind you can kind of mitigate your HE shell damage if you're in a cruiser, because you've got the HE shell damage for, is it one of the French commanders? Yeah, I think it's one of the French commanders. It has the HE damage buff, so you can reduce that damage penalty by about 6%. So you're basically only going to lose 4% and have an extra 30% penetration to your IFHE. It's kind of spicy, let's put it that way. It is certainly spicy. Next skill is Volunteer. It's decrease the reload time of damage control party and receive an extra consumable charge at the cost of a lower duration. This skill looks actually not really worth it in my opinion. I mean, God, look at that penalty. So yes, this one here, so it basically gives you better reload time and damage control party. It gives you extra charges, but it reduces the duration. Fairly straightforward. Numbers are on the screen, as you can see. 70, 50, 40, 20. Yeah, maxed out it's okay, but oh, there is another three skills. Oh, sorry, no, I was looking at the wrong bit. There we go. Next skill is going to be very spicy on destroyers. Playing with fire, increase the artillery distance and the chance of setting an enemy on fire with your destroyer's HE shells at the cost of reduced damage of HE cells. So, you can increase the main gun range of your destroyer by between 2 and 5%. You can then increase your destroyer's fire chance between 2 and 8%. But you do have a flat penalty of minus 30% to your HE shell damage. Now, again, due to the rather unique playstyle of the Russian destroyers, if you're going to take that skill, you may as well just spec in the other HE fire chance skills that are available. So if you've got like the French commanders with their HE fire chance, their HE damage skills, use them in inspiration, because Russian destroyers are not stealthy. They are not stealthy in the slightest. Happily, however, that particular skill only comes on one commander, that's Vladimir Trubetskoy. Flambéed frog. Excuse me. So collective labor, which is the damage control duration charges, that is available on Lev Gala, Mikhail Kedorov, and Nikolai von Essen. Both the cruiser commanders get the not IFHE skill, which is equilibrium of power. So both of those commanders get that as an option. A volunteer, which is the damage control party, reload time, and charges, and the reduction to the duration, is available on Mikhail Kedorov and Lev Gala. And obviously, as I've just said there, playing with fire is available on Vladimir Trubetsky. Okay, moving on. The campaign. So, those of you who are particularly eagle-eyed may have noticed on that teaser image, which they put featured into the on the Discord, things like that. You may have noticed a ship in the poster in the background. That ship was indeed Mikhail Kutuzov, Soviet Tier 7 premium cruiser. There she is. So the campaign will be available between the 9th and the 13th of April, with 5 weeks of missions and 95 levels of progression. So, here is the full list of... I'll have to put myself back away again. There we go. So here's the full list of everything that you can obtain with or without the Abra backing. So without Abra backing, you've got 1 insignia, 9 promotion orders, 1 commendation, 6 premium days, 250 doubloons, 1,050 rubles, we'll come back to those, 1 Russian commander, 6 Soviet credits, 4,000 global experience, 235,000 commander experience, 500,000 credits, 20 boosters, 8 camos, and the patch parts. With the Abra backing, so for those that aren't familiar, Abra backing, you can pay 2,500 doubloons at any point during the campaign, and whatever levels you've achieved so far, Any rewards that are locked behind auto back, you'll get at that point in time, and you'll continue to receive the rest of the rewards as you progress the campaign. So with automatic backing, it is 3 insignias, 23 promotion orders, 3 accommodations, 6 premium days, 750 doubloons, 2850 ruples, 1 commander crate, 13 Soviet crates, 2 big Soviet crates, 19,000 global experience, 375,000 commander experience, 1.8 million credits, 80 boosters, 32 camos, the 2 patch parts, and the Mikhail Kuchezov itself. What's special about Mikhail Kuchezov? Well, Mikhail Kuchezov is a tier 9 premium cruiser with very long range guns. On PC she has quintuple torpedo launchers, 1 each side, and they actually have a fairly decent range to them. She features sonar, she gets smoke screen, but I'm not sure I don't think she gets a heal in Legends. So she's one of the cruisers that does not have a heal. So the total value of the campaign reward, so without the armored backing, the total value is 18,528 doubloons. With the armored backing, it is 72,250 doubloons. So that 2,500 doubloon investment, along with some of your time, goes a very, very long way. Next up, updated combat missions. So the next update features a slight revision to missions. You will now be able to do some combat missions while playing a division. Well, in fact, the completion criteria. I'll have some of my red cola. Yes, anyway, as I was saying, so the combat missions getting a little bit of a revision. Some missions will only be able to be completed as solo, and some missions will only be able to be completed as a division. And there is also going to be personal missions, which are missions which you will only get if you qualify for. So, for instance, that could be like if you own a particular premium ship, or if you've done like an achievement of some sort, and you can get a personal mission to sort of increase that somewhat. A good example of what you could consider personal missions, perhaps, would be the Azure Lane Commanders. They were essentially personal missions, but under a different name because you can only do them in certain ships. Excuse me, I seem to have a bit of a frog in my throat. Please don't make any sexual jokes, especially given there's Froggy here as well. Okay, so balance changes. Well, there isn't any particular balance changes, other than the fact that destroyers will now be mirror matched in numbers in teams. So you will no longer get one team with 1 destroyer and another team with 2 or 3 destroyers. However, the numbers for cruisers and battleships will remain able to fluctuate effectively. So you'll sometimes get more games where one team's got more battleships, one team's got more cruisers, and vice versa. Yes, I said there was a frog in my throat, Froggy. Now we've got some more boating news. So this is the British Tier 7 premium battleship Monarch. In essence, she is an up-tier King George V class battleship armed with 3 triple 15-inch guns and has better armor. I can't say anything else more about her stats, but she's certainly a looker. She'll be available from Monday for 750,000 global XP. And she's a premium British Tier 7 battleship. Essentially, what the King George V class was initially planned to be, before the London Naval Treaty basically restricted gun size, and the British decided that rather than waiting for the escalator clause like the Americans were doing, then just stick on some smaller guns, but more of them. From the 23rd of March, Imperator Nikolai I, Tier 4 Soviet battleship, armed with 12, 14, I want to say 14-inch guns. Are they 14 inches? Let me just check those details. Imperator Nikolai, I actually think they're 13-inch guns, actually. Nikolai. Sorry, they are armed with 12-inch guns. They're 3 or 5mm. Now, a unique characteristic of Soviet battleships, as you may have noticed from some of the skills as I was going through them, Soviet battleships have a... Perhaps it thinks you're ugly, Dave. Don't be so rude to it. It has got feelings, you know. Soviet battleships, they don't have infinite damage control parties like we feature on other ships. Instead, they have a very short reload time, but you get limited supply of them. So, yes, that is the Imperator Nikolai, and it will be available via the platform store. So it will be available on PS Store, PS Store, or the Xbox Store from I want to say the 23rd of March. Yes, 23rd of March, and it will be available in a bundle only. British destroyer fans, rejoice! We're getting a premium destroyer. The Tier 5 destroyer Gallant will appear from the 30th of March, and she'll start at 10,000 doubloons. So Gallant, from what over on PC, is armed with four very low caliber guns actually. Gallant, there we go. Let's have a look. So she's armed with 120mm guns, and she is equipped with 2 quadruple launchers for her torpedo armament. Now, I do believe she has the same concealment as Icarus. So if you plan on using that ship for whatever reason, that would be a good baseline. Is that I do believe the concealment is shared with Icarus. And again, she'll be available within the game store available from 10,000 doubloons from the 30th of March. Another ship, another premium, the Tier 5 Russian cruiser Molotov. So Molotov is essentially an up-tiered version of Kirov. I think she gets a bit more hit points and a few other tweaks compared to Kirov that make her that a little more competitive. She'll be armed with 180mm guns at Tier 5, and she'll be available from the 6th of April, starting at 10,000 doubloons for the ship only package. So if you just want the ship itself, you can get it for 10,000 doubloons. Couple miscellaneous tweaks. So if you've got any leftover Sakura coins, they will be reconciled for 7,500 credits each. If you've got any Super Santa containers left after this update is finished. So if you, as of Monday, if you've got the super standard containers, rather than getting the 50 Sakura coins, which you would get ordinarily for opening those crates, you'll get 375,000 credits instead. First win bonus for the promotion orders and containers will not be returning this update. So those 5 promotion orders you got for playing tier 6 ships, and the Santa crates that you got for playing the tier 7 ships, for your first victory on each of them for the duration of the update, won't be returning at this point in time, which I think's a great shame. Because the hype is it was going to be something we get once per update, and then they've just kind of said no, we're not going to do that now. So, well, whatever. Mutsu de Grasse, Dunkirk, Warspite and T61 will be available from the ships menu on the tech tree list. So rather than having to go through to the store and scrolling to find the ship on there, you'll be able to buy them from the actual ship tab as part under the similar to how Texas and Alabama and Yubari currently appear, I believe, off the top of my head. They've done some optimization in the background with like visuals and the ports, the ship models in the port, and there'll also be something coming in for the 1st of April. Now the specific line here is that we'll have something special quacking in for you on April 1st. So if you're familiar with Wargaming, they have a general tradition of April Fools to have a bit of a fun game mode. Completely separate from the usual game modes. So keep an eye out for that. It's an amusing game, we'll put it that way. It is very amusing. I've got some bug fixes. And that is your rundown for the Russian update. My general thoughts are Wargaming don't help themselves with the perpetuation of Russian bias. I know the community management team really don't like the accusations of Russian bias, but when you have skills that people have been clamoring for quite some time to be available across all ships, or basically over all crews, for instance, and then you make that skill a Russian exclusive skill, or you give destroyers plus 8% fire chance. I mean, I know we had a Targo recently for the Japanese line, but that was a premium commander. They don't really help themselves when it comes to those kind of accusations. Once again, we're getting a ship that was removed from sale from PC. So not only do we have Belfast at the moment, we're also getting Mikhail Kucherov, and obviously we've also got, unfortunately, the Jean Bart, which is getting removed from sale on PC. Yeah, there's a couple of other bits and pieces that I can't go through at the moment with you guys because, well, it will be as a result of my knowledge of Super Test rather than anything else, which I can't share, unfortunately. I can't share until the update goes live. But suffice to say, there are other factors which I am concerned about regarding the commanders for the Russians. I'll maybe do a video on Monday and just explain what those concerns are. But yeah, there's some things here that need to be tweaked out. And with regards to the premium ships themselves, the Monarch, Imperator Nikolai, Galant, Molotov, avoid getting too hyped for them. That's just my opinion. I won't tell you the reasons why, just avoid getting too hyped for them. I don't mean to leave it on the dour note, so if you do want to stick around, I am going to stick my ending screen on momentarily. That is purely just so I've got a point which I can just cut out for uploading to you. Well, actually, just like highlighting and doing like a sole video highlight of this section. But other than that, thank you for watching. I hope you've kind of enjoyed me going through these bits. It's something a bit different. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this slightly different approach to my stream. If you want to leave any feedback, please do so. You can either do that, you can drop me a message on Discord. Not on the it's not Cerberus #0001, or you can comment on the video on Facebook on the Not Cerberus page. So I am gonna say I'll wrap this bit up and I'll load up my Xbox and we can do some World of Warships Legends gameplay on there. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please do hit that like, follow, subscribe button if you want to see more from me for these kind of things. I am going to try and focus a bit more on actual content side of stuff as well, not just the gameplay side as well. So oh wait a minute, we've got John Tiffin in here. Most important questions: where did my Yamato go? Gone. When are Karim's coming? Hopefully sometime this year, but probably never. Ship horns, well, who cares about them? Wargaming don't nerf premium ships. Well, not going to reach the there's no news on reducing premium the chip costs. Why are they spending? When are they expenses? They're not. When can I let me know? It's on the list. What are they fixing? Help to stop going broadside. When are they going to fix smoke screens and removing visible ships from this game? When are they going to fix smoke screens? Learn the game mechanics. Same with invisible ships. Learn the game mechanics. And I don't want Russian ships. Well, tough. They're coming. Is that a satisfactory response, John? Right. As I said, I'm gonna wrap this side of the stream up. So we'll if you just stick around a few moments, guys. You won't need to reload or anything like that. You just need to just continue watching, and then we'll be back in about 2 minutes. Okay. See you in a bit.